Recently, I've realized a pattern in my past relationships where I'm expected to defend my reality and really lay out why something hurt me before they're willing to take accountability. Relationships really rely on balanced, thoughtful, mutual labor, especially when it comes to taking accountability or ownership over your mistakes. And it seems like some men lack the empathy to make a good faith attempt in understanding why you're hurt. And it's not unique to men, of course, but it tends to be more common, and it makes sense when you consider that they've been socialized in a way that prioritizes stoicism, and it doesn't let themselves respect their own emotions, nonetheless their partners. So now you're in a position where you've already explained your reality, but it's not enough because you need to defend it as well. Maybe they're saying, well, it doesn't make sense. Why would you be hurt by that? I didn't even mean it, and so on. There's a certain weaponized logic that makes you feel like you're on trial, and there's a lawyer there to pick apart your version of events in order to absolve blame, even if the original issue was only something like, hey, it kind of stung a bit when you did blank. There's something so frustrating about going in circles and having to explain why you're hurt in increasingly complex ways until you've countered all their counterpoints, and they finally have an explanation that resonates enough for them to concede and be like, okay, yeah, I see why that might have bothered you, I'm sorry. Usually by the end of that, you're so exhausted that an apology doesn't even feel good anymore. And sometimes what's crazier is that they feel like the conversation was productive. Meanwhile, you were just subjected to this incredibly unloving way of navigating empathy. It's really hard to stay in a relationship like this long term because at some point you're exhausted and you feel a little bit crazy because when there's an issue, you have to be ready with that defense because the council is not going to go easy on you. At some point, whether you recognize it as emotional labor or not, you have to mentally check out because you've been forced to single handedly bridge the empathy gap in order to get your needs met while they continue to not work on their understanding to make sure the pattern doesn't continue. It's not just exhausting, it's lonely, it's invalidating, but more than anything, it's not sustainable. You don't always need to understand why someone is hurt in order to apologize. Love is looking beyond yourself in order to take ownership of that feeling by letting your partner know that you inherently trust them in their reality. And after that empathy is established, if you still don't understand why they're hurt, you can start the conversation where you lovingly try to find the disconnect in order to prevent it from happening again in the future.